All right, it being 6 o'clock, I'm going to call the Coos Bay City Council meeting to order. Would you all rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening, everyone. I think we have some public comments. Christine, got the list? So I have a disclaimer to read first. So the public comment period is intended for the public to share ideas and concerns. It is not intended for an interactive discussion with the council. There may be opportunities for the public comments during specific agenda items that require public hearing, which we have a few tonight. Members of the public are requested to confine their remarks to those questions or issues under the discussion during this time. During any designated period, individuals shall not engage in any personal attack, shall not impugn the motives of any speaker, and shall at all times, while in session, conduct themselves in an appropriate manner. No person shall make personal, impertinent, slanderous, or unauthorized remarks or become boisterous while addressing the council. First person on this list is Clinton Harold. Good evening, Clinton.
Councilors, my name is Clinton Harold. I'm a North Bend resident. I'm here because the geographic border between our cities does not isolate North Bend households from the structural decay of this chamber. Our shared wastewater utilities, public safety corridors, and regional tax bases mean your fiscal insolvency is our immediate physical vulnerability. I am entering the official May 15th City of Coos Bay Oversight Memo directly into your permanent public record today. This document represents a comprehensive forensic review built on a strict historic registry of 6 years of your own audited financial reports and 5 sequential adopted budgets. Your administrative team has attempted to market this upcoming fiscal year ledger as a stable enterprise, but your own internal analysis reveals an accounting mirage. Let's audit the raw metrics. Your general fund is balanced at $18,636,722, but it is entirely propped up by siphoning $2.72 million in carryover cash just to survive the fiscal year. You have left a microscopic $55,336 contingency cushion for a city of this size, while completely omitting an unappropriated ending fund balance. Your administrative team will likely claim tonight that you have additional padding tucked away in subcategory or enterprise fund contingencies, like wastewater or fire. But under Oregon law, those are legally restricted silos. You cannot spend sewer fees to cover general city administration or baseline operations. The general fund is your only true catch-all safety net, and you have left it with an emergency safety net of less than 0.3%. Your operating runway is completely non-existent. To hide this rapid burn rate and bypass constitutional tax limits, your administration executed a multi-departmental fund presentation shuffle, violating the clear intent of GASB 54, transparency rules. You quietly scrub parks, code enforcement, and police communications out of the primary general fund to make baseline operational costs appear artificially reduced. Yet your own files confirm that your general fund must still deploy massive structural subsidies, including $870,000 to North Coos Dispatch, $750,000 to parks, just to keep these critical services from collapsing. You are gutting local community contributions by over 60%, while sitting on a massive unexplained $4.45 million catch-all line item in your financing schedule. Furthermore, your headline budget message asserts a total footprint of $73.6 million. Yet your internal summary tables expose 769,000 reconciliation discrepancy. Your budget may technically comply with Oregon local budget law, but compliance is not the same as prudence. In your own memo, the 8 specific structural conditions required to fix this ledger before adoption, you cannot bypass the physics of a zero balance trap. Enjoy the decline.
Thank you. Next person is Daryl Ban. Is that right? Or Bar? Bar? I apologize.
I'm going to bring her up. She gets
Sure. Absolutely.
I would like to comment. He spoke so fast I absorbed little of nothing of it, but whatever. Yeah, I'm here about the
Just give us your name and where you reside.
Okay, I'm Daryl Barr. I live at 2309 North 11th Street here in Coos Bay. I've lived in Oregon over half my life. Right. But I'm here about the No Kings rallies. I have no problem with people rallies as long as they're legal, but when they start calling me a pedophile because I have no right to have a daughter because I'm a pedophile, I object to that. They're calling everyone's a pedophile but them. Everyone in the United States is a pedophile but them. And they're using really foul language. I had one lady, she had a sign that said, "Release the files right now." Well, they're on the internet. They've been on the internet for quite a while. They perverted files, the Epstein, is it Epstein? They've been on the internet for quite a while. I said, "Look on the internet." She goes, "They're not there." Well, they are there. I says, and yes, they're redacted because you might want to consider that there's a lot of people, foreign dignitaries, important foreign people that are on that. They really probably should not be turning in. That's their country's business. We don't want to, it's none of our business. Maybe it's our business, but we don't want to run their economies or start wars. Anyway, I get tired of I take her to the No Bananas place down there downtown. And I'm scared to park my car there now because I have Trump signs on it, and I'm proud. I'm not taking my Trump signs off for anyone. And I probably will be vandalized eventually. I've been called many names, and we won't repeat them. But I just get tired of it. And I realize that people have a right to protest, but they're keeping business away from the No Bananas place. People don't want to go there when they're there because those people down there are the no brain cell people, as far as I'm concerned. Protesting out there. They don't know what they're talking about. They have no facts to back up anything they're saying. That's a fact. I'd love to talk about it, but to a certain time. And I do have a concern about medical costs in America. OHP is a mess. Now, I've got insurance for my daughter, which pays 80%, and OHP pays 20% because she has some Downs and autism. But OHP doesn't work well at all. There's Douglas County plan, Coos County plan, Curry County plan, and she had to go without surgery for 5 years because the doctor here in Coos Bay was not allowed to do it because she lives in Douglas County, and with my ex, and I have her part-time. But OHP is a total disaster. My insurance, even if I wanted to pay the other 20%, my insurance legally cannot pay unless OH pays their 20%. And the deal is that the doctors have a lock on their patients. I've been told this by a pharmacist. The doctors have a lock on their patients. And if you go out of the county your plan is in, you're not covered unless you go through major steps, and it's a mess. Total mess. So I've been told she'll have no teeth after the age of 18 because of an inadequate OHP. And the doctor here in Coos Bay could have done the surgery within weeks. 5 years ago. 3 minutes. Am I through? Is that it?
Yes.
Right. Thank you very much for your consideration.
Thank you for coming. Thank you. So is there anyone else in the audience? You don't have to necessarily be signed up on this roster to speak. So if you'd like to, this would be the time. Hearing that there's no one else interested in public comments, I'll close the public comment period, and we'll move on. Next item on the agenda is the consent calendar. Council, how would you like to proceed? Oh, did you want to bring something down, Lucinda?
Yes, I'd like the Juneteenth proclamation read. Could we bring that down to item 5I, please?
Yes. So for information, Council, the proclamations are going to be in the consent calendar, but if someone wants to bring it down to read it, they're more than welcome to do so. And so in this case, Lucinda's going to do that. So anyway, with that being the case, can I get a motion for the consent calendar?
I move to approve the consent calendar. Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent calendar with the exclusion of 3B, moving down to 5A. Is there any comments or questions? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, it passes. Oh, I was remiss. Councillor Cribbins had something come up. He will try to attend virtually if possible. The next item on the agenda is presentation by the school district. They're not here this evening. Summer break. So here we go. 4B, South Coast Development Council presentation. Alexi, it's good to see you.
You too. Good evening, Mayor, Council, and City Manager. Thank you for having me tonight. I believe this is my second time. I've been here for 2.5 years now, if you can believe that.
Can you feel like it?
Oh, yeah.
Good.
Yes. All right, so going through the basics. Oh, yeah. Okay, sounds good. You'll do it. All right, it's pretty self-explanatory. All right, so the South Coast Development Council is a 501c3 nonprofit economic development organization. We serve all of Coos and all of Curry, as well as coastal Douglas and Lane counties. Our vision is bringing together people, places, and possibilities, and we did have our 25th anniversary last year. We're funded by annual memberships such as yours, private foundations, state and federal grants, and contract services. Funding is deployed to create the largest collective economic impact or the greatest good. Coos Bay is one of 10 of our founding members that are still committed to us today. They contributed $50,000 25 years ago to get us going, so we're very grateful for that. We view ourselves as an extension of the economic development team that you have on staff. The picture in the bottom right is a entrepreneur and investor tour that Rob Crocker, local entrepreneur investor Rob Crocker, led, with SCDC providing coordination support. And we brought 7 vetted investor entrepreneurs from the metro region, Portland and beyond, and we took them all through Reedsport, Coos Bay, North Bend, and Bandon. And it was a huge success, and we're keeping in touch with them to this day. We do plan on doing another one of these tours in the future. Our Coos Bay focus is business retention, expansion, and attraction. The South Coast Accelerator, which is the marketing name for our business incubator located at the Newmark Center. Entrepreneurial programs, services, and events. Enterprise and Opportunity Zone Management, which are 2 state incentives. Port and airport land development. I know they're not in Coos Bay, but super adjacent and impactful. And then other projects and program development. This is our board of directors. City Manager Rutherford has been our treasurer. And then we've got 17 others. The City of Coos Bay is one of our top 6 members, and then you can see all of our other members below. Our goal is to have every county, port, and city and places like that be members, so we're just holding out for Myrtle Point at this moment, so if you know anybody. This is our staff. Alamar Hoy is with me tonight. He's our Economic Development Manager. Jude Anderson started in January. He replaced Tanya, and he's over the South Coast Accelerator, Business Incubator, the Southwest Oregon Innovation Hub, and the Future Co-working Space. And Alamar Hoy does the business retention, expansion, and attraction work. And then the Operations Manager, Patrick, keeps it all going. So 2025, what we did for City of Coos Bay residents or businesses, we had 37 business retention and expansion visits where Lamar actually went out to the business and visited with them. The whole goal is to keep the businesses we have here and happy, help them grow if they want to, and then to attract in when we're able to. We assisted with 3 walk-ins from Coos Bay. We had 8 Enterprise Zone support meetings. The Enterprise Zone is a state incentive which, but for a local manager, could not be offered to Coos Bay and other businesses. CCD used to do it, and they were not going to do it anymore, and so SCDC stepped up to continue it on. We had 13 incentive navigation meetings where we connected them with Business Oregon and other incentives. We responded to 3 state leads called requests for proposals with Coos Bay sites. Basically what that means is major prospects go to the state of Oregon and they say, we're interested in this type of location. And then the state sends it out to all the economic development organizations who have signed up to be a part of this. And then you submit sites on behalf of the prospect. So the state acts as somewhat of a middleman. So we maintain an entire database that's on our website. Anybody can go there anytime and see all the sites that are listed. We cannot submit a site if it's not listed on there, and we're the ones that do the work to get all of them listed on there so we can submit them. The brokers don't do that for us. Lots of developer, investor, and broker outreach, primarily in the form of email marketing campaigns and events, and then the entrepreneur tour, like I mentioned. So all of 2025 and 2026 to date, we have monthly morning grind mastermind sessions at the Newmark building in Coos Bay, where any entrepreneur or small business owner or manager can attend to network, troubleshoot their problems, and get feedback from the group, and there's usually some type of learning element involved as well. We have what's called a Co-Starters program, where entrepreneurs develop and fine-tune their ideas, kind of like idea to launch. Overall, in this time period, we've had 8 Coos Bay participants. The March Reedsport Core, 1 out of 4 participants were from Coos Bay. And the core is the 10 to 12 weeks. There's also a boot camp, which is what it sounds like. It's a 2-day intensive. And then, so we had 4 out of 6 participants from Coos Bay, and then the September Coos Bay Core, at least 3 out of 9 participants were from Coos Bay. And that's a picture of them in the bottom middle of one of the cohorts working away. And the City of Coos Bay is an official partner of SCDC for all of our entrepreneurship efforts, both for the South Coast Accelerator Business Incubator and the Southwest Oregon Innovation Hub. The South Coast Accelerator Business Incubator houses 2 businesses from Coos Bay right now, Wrangle Digital as well as True Furniture. We've done 3 pitch nights in this time period. The biggest success story is that 2 of the people from Coos Bay that participated both in our Coast Orders program and in our pitch nights almost immediately afterwards went on to open their first brick and mortar locations. In 2025 Coos County Pitch Night, we had 1 Coos Bay applicant, and that person moved forward with 4 others. So each Coos Bay applicant, or any Pitch Night applicant pool, gets evaluated by a committee. There's 1 rep from each county, Coos, Curry, and Douglas. And there's a whole scoring rubric, and it's, impartial. SCDC isn't making the decisions. It's people like the Small Business Development Center director and people like that have the wherewithal to evaluate the likelihood of success and overall impact that the business could have. And there's also a special focus on traded sector, and that just means bringing money from outside of the state in, so it's not just recirculating money within the existing economy. So that's SCDC's focus has always been on traded sector because those jobs tend to be family sustaining jobs, and they tend to create the biggest spin-off job impacts as well. So they do get extra points for that. And then wherever the pitch night is located, they get an extra point for that. So when it's in Coos County applicants get an extra point, and so on for the other counties. And we are open about that. We can share that grading rubric with anybody who wants it. So the 2 businesses that opened are Acting Up in the Hive, as well as Coastal Photo Studio. And these pictures are Stephanie Eaton. She's with Coastal Photo Studio pitching at our Coos County Pitch Night, and then her Bay Area Chamber of Commerce ribbon cutting on the right. And this is the other one, Desiree, with the Hive/Acting Up. Again, Pitch Night pictures on the left, Bay Area Chamber of Commerce ribbon cutting on the right. Over the last 2 days, we've applied for 2 grants, totaling approximately $100,000 to launch the co-working space at the Newmark Center. So we have applied for 3 grants prior to this for it. We got one from the Oregon Community Foundation for $20,000. So we will launch something kind of bare bones by the end of this year, but we really need a lot more money to make it attractive enough to make it self-sustaining for the long term. So yesterday we applied for a $70,000 USDA grant, and today at about 5 o'clock we applied for the Oregon Community Foundation grant for $25,000. So the idea behind that is entrepreneurs move from their home office or their garage into the co-working space, which is temporary affordable space. You can rent it by the hour, half day, week, whatever. And then after that, they graduate into the business incubator, which is private, full-time space. And they're allowed to stay in the business incubator for up to 3 years. And then they would work with A. Lamar Hoy to find normal or traditional commercial space outside of the Newmark Center. So it's an entire ecosystem, and the co-working space is really the last physical infrastructure piece to that we're trying to accomplish. 2 other projects that we're working with in partnership with CCD and Pilot Management Resources. We coordinated and submitted 1 census tract in Coos Bay and 2 census tracts adjacent to Coos Bay for the state to consider making eligible for the Opportunity Zone 2.0 incentive. So this was a huge amount of work, lots of hours put in. Basically, SCDC did all the initial research on all the tracts, and they were scored against the measurements that Business Oregon is going to use. And those tracts were put forth to all the cities and counties in ranked order, and then the cities and counties were able to say, no, we actually want to put this track forward or this track forward, and then we help them submit those applications. So this was a huge lift, and there's no way, I don't think, that the cities and counties could have done it without the support of the local economic development organizations. This is something that we're comfortable with, and I'm really happy with the result. I feel like we will get designated some of these tracts in one of the 3 counties in which we worked on, which was Coos, Curry, and Douglas.
So when will we find out about the Opportunity Zone?
Do you know?
That'll actually be after September.
September? And so we don't know which entity, I mean, we've been in opportunity zone in the past, so it doesn't mean that necessarily that would help us in the future or being accepted?
Well, my understanding is that it runs out, and so how do we not? Yeah, come on up, and
Yeah.
Lamar did all this. So.
Good evening, everyone. Thank
Good
you.
evening.
So currently, out of the total that will be submitted to the mayor's committee, they're expecting to go ahead and choose 25% of them. So with the amount that we're submitting, we're actually hoping that we can solidify one tract in each county right now.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, just going to add to that, that the governor ultimately makes the decision on the census tracts in the state of Oregon. Theoretically, that should be about 25% within each county. So the odds that we would get, our selection is pretty high because we were conservative in our work. But and then she has, these are due by July 1st, I believe, and then she has until September 30th to make that selection, and these are then deemed by the IRS as the selected census tracts. So that's where you get the tax credit, is from the federal government.
So will they be the same track? Were the same tracks submitted that we have, or are there different tracks now?
For us, yes,
For us.
we selected the same. Yeah.
Same ones? Okay.
Based on, this is the thing, the team put together a pretty robust ranking system, and it just filtered up automatically because there is such a drive out there for development and what's available to be developed. So,
Right.
And we collectively kind of did this, right? We know, again, that, the theme, one boat rising rises all boats. That's this, the tracks we picked.
Okay.
So.
And just so you know, the tracts that were selected and submitted were the Empire Tract, what we call the Empire Charleston Tract, the Terminal 1 Tract, which is what we named it for the submission, and then the North Bend Census Tract number 3, so the area right near the airport. So those were the 3 that were submitted.
Okay, thank you.
The Terminal 1 tract, the Terminal 1 tract, that's what we had previous?
So that's in the county. It's not in ours. We had the Empire Charleston kind of census tract. So we would still, if it's selected, we'd still have the same area that we've had historically for Opportunity Zone.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and ranking wise, I believe we did ours first, and then the airport second, and then Terminal 1 third.
Yes.
Thanks.
All right, thanks.
All right, something that's ongoing is in partnership with the Southwestern Oregon Workforce Investment Board in the airport. We're conducting pre-feasibility work for an airport cold storage facility on airport property. This project would potentially address a critical infrastructure gap affecting local producers, processors, fishermen, and distributors, and it would enhance supply chain resilience and work towards business retention, expansion, and attraction. And then the last thing I have is an example of a major business attraction effort that occurred from May to June of 2025. It was called Project Cliff. It was, the prospect would have, had we landed it, would have been 3 phases with a 2-year construction timeline. The potential impact was going to be about $1 billion, 250 to 350 prevailing wage construction jobs, and 60 to 80 permanent jobs. So the initial contact, they reached out to the Port of Coos Bay, which is crazy. You don't ever just get reached out to. The reason that they reached out to the Port of Coos Bay is because one of the people affiliated with the company went to Bandon Dunes to golf, and they saw all the wood chips piled up, that pile that always leaks into the fence that we all are familiar with. They saw that, and that is an input that they use to make the type of fuel that they were wanting to make, and so they figured there were plenty of chips here, and that's what got them to start looking at the area, and they reached out to the Port of Coos Bay because they were interested in one of their sites. Once they reached out, the Port of Coos Bay contacted us, and then from there on, we worked the prospect hand in hand. All NDAs were executed. We reviewed the project requirements and site needs, and then there were initial discussions focused on infrastructure, workforce, utilities, and development feasibility. Then ALMR learned everything there was to learn about wood byproducts, slash, chips, several other kinds that I don't remember. Commissioner John Sweet was kind enough to take him out into the woods, and they trounced around and learned all about the different types of wood byproducts. And then Lamar researched and made contact with 5 local regional companies that could potentially supply these inputs to the prospect and handed that information over to the prospect. Then we coordinated what I call a super meeting. We invited 16 targeted regional partners that are all part of the economic development ecosystem. It was workforce, education, Coos County planning, the city, of course, just anybody and everybody that could be helpful to the prospect, all the utilities, things like that. So about 10 of the people from the business flew in from all over the nation. And then we met at the Newmark Center, and we provide little gift baskets from the Coos Bay North Bend Charleston Visitor Center and made it a whole thing. And then everybody went around the room and basically expressed their support for the project and how they could help the project. And then the business themselves went through a PowerPoint about what they plan to do. After that meeting, we toured the site. And then the prospect spent the next several days meeting one-on-one with some of these stakeholders that they needed to have more detailed conversations with, like Coos County planning and such. After that, we provided them with all the incentive stack that they could potentially be eligible for. And this is, by the way, extremely oversimplified. Basically what happens when a lead like this comes in is we drop everything. Nothing else is a priority compared to this, because this is extremely rare. This is the largest prospect that came into the area in 2025. So this was long enough ago that we would have had to have really read a lot of things to put everything into here, but this is a simplified version of the work that went in to handling this prospect. They continued the site evaluation and infrastructure discussions. The prospect went under contract with the land. We were all very optimistic that we were going to get it. Then the new federal administration was elected and eliminated a clean energy incentive, which pushed back the urgency of expanding production for the clean energy they were going to produce and made the project no longer pencil. We still keep in touch with them. It's not dead, but it's not moving forward now. And that's all I've got. Happy to take any questions.
So, out and about, all of us run into different individuals that have suggestions about putting things here. So if they do that, we just contact you or Lamar and say, look, they're looking for X. And also you have availability on sizes of property that are available that are necessary for some of these businesses?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. Just send them all to Lamar.
All right. Other questions, anyone? Good.
All right, thank you. Yeah, you too.
Uh-huh.
Yes, thank you.
All right, next item, we're going to 5 action items. So the first item is we're going to have a public hearing on the use of revenue sharing funds. Approval to accept the funds would require adoption of Resolution 26-17. And Brianna is going to give us an update. No?
Yes. Yes, but I think we pulled an item to.
Oh, yes, we did.
Were we doing it at this
No,
place
but
or
that's
at the
5A.
very end?
That's 5I.
At the end, okay.
Thank you. No, I know. Almost. All right. So, Brianna, you have some information for us before we move forward on the public hearing?
Yes, thank you. So the City of Coos Bay receives a portion of state revenues that are collected and shared out based on population. In order to participate in the Oregon State Revenue Sharing Program and to accept these funds, the city must hold 2 public hearings for the purpose of receiving input on the use of these funds. One of the public hearings was held before the Budget Committee in May, and the other one tonight here in front of Council. For the City of Coos Bay, these funds come into the general fund and are part of the funds used to support the programs within the general fund. After the public hearing, we are asking for Council's approval to adopt Resolution 26-17, accepting the state revenue sharing funds.
Okay, so I'm going to open the public hearing on the use of revenue sharing funds. Is there anyone in the audience or anyone online that would like to make a comment on this? Hearing none, I'll close the public hearing. Council, how would you like to move forward?
I'll move to adopt Resolution 26-17, accepting state revenue sharing funds.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve and accept the funds, adopt Resolution 26-17. Let's make it easy. All right. Any other comments or discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, it passes. Next item is a public hearing for adoption of Budget Committee's 26-27 approved budget. Required adoption of Resolution 26-18 to make appropriate appropriations and levy ad valorem taxes. Brianna?
Yes, thank you. Every year, the city goes through the budgeting process, which establishes the spending authority for the upcoming fiscal year. This process includes a proposed budget created by staff being reviewed and discussed with the Budget Committee. This year, those meetings were held on May 7th and May 14th. After the Budget Committee approves the budget, it then goes before the council to be considered for adoption after holding a public hearing for the public to make comments. The proposed budget included a 6.5% sewer rate increase. However, after further review with our rate consultant, a 6% rate increase was recommended and was presented and discussed during the Budget Committee meeting. The budget presented here tonight has been approved by the Budget Committee, and we are asking for council's approval to adopt the budget through Resolution 26-18, giving the city spending authority for the upcoming fiscal year.
Okay, at this time, I'm going to open a public hearing for the adoption of the Budget Committee 26-27 approved budget and making appropriations to levy ad valorem taxes. Is there anyone in the audience or online that would like to make a comment? Hearing none, can I get a motion to approve the resolution?
Can you just give us a little bit more detail on what goes into the Budget Committee and who's included in that given our public comment earlier?
Yes, so there are 14 members. It is the 7 members of the council and then 14 citizens within the community. That is the Budget Committee.
And we meet, how often, when do we meet, and what do those meetings look like?
There are typically 2 meetings. It was on May 7th and May 14th. They're a few hours long. Typically the second meeting is only if needed, but it is usually needed. Yeah.
And we go through that budget line by line?
Yes, the whole budget is reviewed and discussed and line by line.
Thanks.
Can I just also add that the budget document itself is available. We try very hard to get it 3 weeks in advance, publicly available, and our doors are open. So if there are questions, and I would be happy to sit with this individual and walk through, just looking at some of these, some fairly easy things to walk through. So
yeah, glancing at it, it looks like many of the things listed in his brief white paper were things that were discussed during the committee meeting. Yeah.
And as listed here, this is all online. The budget and the audit records are online for anyone to review.
Yes, that's correct.
All right.
Yeah.
And they're open to the public for comment before they're even sent forward here. And I know that our elected chair of the Budget Committee spent days and most of her house going through that budget line by line. And I know you spent a lot of time with finance and the city manager to go through and really take a look so that she had that information coming to the Budget Committee when we were discussing it about how tight it was.
Yeah. I don't think
Okay.
anyone disagrees that we have some tough years ahead. Yeah.
No, it was a very good process and very open, so anyone can participate. With that, any other comments? All right, hearing none, council, how would you like to proceed?
I move to adopt Resolution 2618 to adopt the 2026-27 budget, make appropriations, and levy taxes.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to adopt Resolution 26-18. Is there any other comments? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, it passes. Next item on the agenda is consideration to adopt Resolution 26-19, adjusting sewer user fees. Brianna?
Yes, thank you. The city's water quality budget for the upcoming fiscal year was based on a 6% sewer rate increase in order to appropriately plan for the city's aging wastewater infrastructure, maintenance, and replacement. The city worked with our wastewater rate consultant, Steve Donovan, who provided us with this 6% recommendation. The percentage was based on evaluation of the city's forecasted water quality operations and maintenance, as well as proposed construction projects and debt service. The Budget Committee approved the budget, including this increase, and we are asking for council to consider adoption of Resolution 26-19 to adjust the sewer user fees.
And this was discussed during the budget meeting also, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
And Steve Donovan, who's our consultant, has been a consultant for many years, and he does this annually, this review?
Annually, yes.
Right. Comments, questions?
I think I also noted that last year's rate increase was 7.5, so this is 1.5% lower. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Thank you.
All right, council, how'd you like to proceed?
I'll move that we adopt Resolution 26-19, adjusting sewer user rates, charges, and fees.
Second.
It's been moved and is seconded to adopt resolution 26-19. So, just for your information, if anyone's interested in getting a tour of the treatment facility, it's available. Jay Farr and myself had the opportunity to do that, and so it's interesting, and you should. You find out a lot of information. Number one, we're the only city in the state that has sewer treatment facilities. I knew we were rare and exceptional, but yeah, exactly. Also the cost that we bear with it. All right, any other comments?
But that's based on our topography, right? That's not a choice we're making.
Right, but I mean, you have a lot of other cities, and it was. I mean, I thought there would be others, but there's none. So anyway, but they do a fantastic job, and the staff is wonderful, and they can answer the question. So I really would advocate going out there. I know it doesn't sound appealing, but it's interesting. So
That's cool.
And we just got done with Plant 1 for $24 million.
That's correct.
$24 million upgrade. So yeah.
I know I just had a request from the executive director of the Band of Dunes Charitable Foundation, so I'll be reaching out soon. So I will let everyone know when we're planning that tour, and anyone can join.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to adopt resolution 26-19. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, it passes. Next item on the agenda is going to be another public hearing to enact ordinance, to enact an ordinance that we are going to repeal. Was that correct?
Yeah.
Am I getting this correct?
It's a complicated situation, and I've kind of always questioned why we do this. So just to kind of put some background to this, for utilities' use of our right-of-way, they enter into a franchise agreement that says simply that any revenues they earn while using the public's right-of-way should have a fee charged and provided to the city for maintaining the right-of-way and all those things. So all of the utility companies that currently operate in the city of Coos Bay, so that's Pacific Power, Northwest Natural, Charter, Ziply, and then a bunch of little guys, they have these agreements. We have a code section that deals with utility franchises and licenses. It's a blanket. It's a large, overarching code section. And then historically, we've also done an ordinance for each franchisee. Rather than allowing the code section to give us that oversight and then having an agreement, just a very simple agreement, which would still come before council, but doesn't require the same level and become a part of our municipal code. It just is really clunky. So I worked with Nate this year, and this is clunky, but it's going to help us get on the right track. So essentially, we are going to repeal the existing charter ordinance, which is part of code underneath the umbrella, and just default to the umbrella code regulating and the agreement, which is included, giving us the details of how we interact together. That is how they do their work in the right-of-way, what they're able to do, what fees they would have if they're going to do that work, and then the rate, which they weren't proposing a different rate. We're not proposing. That's how we based our budget this year, and the term, the length of term, the standard kind of contractual language. So, and then as we move forward, when additional franchisees agreements come up for renewal, we'll handle them the same way. So it's just a little bit simpler of a process.
So will the Charter Communications franchise agreement come, are we going to vote on that tonight and enact an ordinance? But we have to repeal the ordinance first.
So what's before you is an ordinance to repeal an ordinance,
Right.
which is interesting in and of itself. And then you also have their agreement that we're asking for, should you agree, giving authority for the city manager to sign
the
on
agreement.
behalf.
Do we generate income from this agreement?
We do, and I should have had that ready. That is, I believe, charter is around the $90,000 a year, and it has varied a little bit. It went up a little when they jumped into phone service, and it's a little less, I think, than what we've maybe seen historically. So,
Okay. And this agreement is good for how long?
this is tenure.
Okay. So I won't be here next time it is being renewed.
We'll see.
Okay. All right. So that being the case, I'm going to open the public hearing to enact an ordinance to repeal an ordinance. An agreement with Charter Communications is part of this. Anyway, is there any, pardon? Is there any public comment on this, online or in the chambers? Hearing none, I'll close the public hearing, and I'll ask that we enact this. So you'll enact ordinance repealing ordinance 478 and authorize city manager to sign the Spectrum franchise agreement.
I had a question before we do a motion. So are there any differences between the ordinance that we're repealing and the ordinance that we already have on the books through the blanket?
Those differences exist within the agreement. So for example, the rate that their franchise rate and the way they pay that to us and where we make communications, those really in the weeds details are the difference that sit in the agreement and are very particular by franchisee.
So any protections that we would have in the two ordinances are now going to be in the ordinance and the agreement?
Yes, so the protections are agreed. Globally there was a lot of duplication already between the umbrella ordinance that covers all and what was in Charter's ordinance. So that duplication goes away because it's already guided by the umbrella ordinance. Nate reviewed both to make sure that we weren't missing something by taking this path, and it's all covered in the blanket ordinance and in the agreement.
Okay, that's what I just wanted to make sure we stated that for the public as well.
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay, so we need a motion for this, please.
I'll move that we enact an ordinance repealing ordinance 478 and authorize the city manager to sign the Spectrum franchise agreement.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to enact an ordinance repealing an ordinance 478 and authorize the city manager. Did I close the public hearing? I did not. I closed the public hearing.
You did.
I did? Okay. Anyway, so it's been moved and seconded to enact an ordinance repealing ordinance 478 and authorize the city manager to sign the Spectrum franchise agreement. Any other discussion or comments? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, it passes.
Mayor Benetti, I think we need to do a roll call.
Oh,
for
I
an
apologize.
ordinance.
You're right,
Oh, yeah.
an ordinance. Aye. So, Christine, would you please do that for us?
Absolutely, Mayor Benetti. An ordinance repealing ordinance number 478 relating to the Charter Communications cable franchise, authorizing execution of a new franchise agreement with Spectrum Pacific West LLC, and clarifying that cable franchises within the city of Coos Bay shall be governed by Coos Bay Municipal Code Chapter 13.20, applicable law, and individual franchise agreements. Councilor Matthews.
Aye.
Councilor DeNovo.
Aye.
Mayor Benetti.
Aye.
Councilor Kilmer.
Aye.
Councilor Stevens.
Aye.
Ordinance number 601 has been duly enacted.
The next item on the agenda is consideration to approve the regional problem-solving agreement between Coos Bay and Coos County for the urban growth boundary UGB Phase 2 work. Chelsea?
Yeah, thank you. So as council recalls, back in 2024-2025, the city worked with the county through what we call Phase 1 of this project. That really contemplated which land areas we wanted to evaluate for future urban growth boundary amendment through the regional problem-solving process. And it ended with a proposed work plan that included further evaluation of the Charleston, Barview, Bunker Hill, Bay Park, urban unincorporated communities, the Millington rural unincorporated community, and the unincorporated areas between Bunker Hill, Bay Park, and Millington. It also included updating the existing urban growth management and special service district agreements, as well as city and county comprehensive plan and development code text, and then as funding allows, our facilities plans. So the phase 2 work started this year. The Land Conservation and Development Commission approved substantially the same work plan, and so now it's up to the city and the county to formally approve that agreement, that work plan. This morning, the County Board of Commissioners did review and approved, and we also met with our Project Advisory Committee this afternoon just to get everybody up to speed with where we're at and where we're going. Just reminder that both phases of this work has or is being funded by the Department of Land Conservation and Development. The project needs to be completed within 3 years, and technically that puts us, it sounds weird, but it puts us June of 2027, so maybe that's on point. We've had about a year working through the contracting process, but completion is essentially when the urban growth boundary amendments are completed. And so if there are any questions, we have Jay Harlan, consultant with AKS Engineering, here tonight to answer those. Otherwise, we're just looking for consensus on an agreement approval.
So any questions on this? I mean, it's been a long process, and I can't commend staff enough, and Jill from the county, the planner, to help us get there. Chelsea and Jill and I attended the LCDC meeting to get this approved on their part. The scope of work, I think that's correct. And also they are, the LCD gave us a grant to do this. So this is really critical and important for us to have any possibility of growth. So, Jay, did you want to make any comments? No?
Unless there's questions.
All right. So we have a meeting today on the scope. They're going to meet with all the partners that are involved in this and make sure that they cover all the bases, and hopefully we'll have this done by when? In about 9 months, right?
Yeah, as soon as possible.
Okay.
Yeah.
The sooner the better, right? Okay.
Yes.
Questions, anyone? If not, I need a motion, please.
I move that the City Council approve the draft regional problem-solving agreement between the City of Coos Bay and Coos County in the form presented, and authorize the mayor to execute the agreement on behalf of the city.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the regional problem-solving agreement between Coos Bay and Coos County for the urban growth boundary. Any phase 2 work? Any other comments, questions?
Mayor
Hearing none?
Benetti, I would like to also commend your work on this project. You've spent countless hours serving on multiple committees and being on the LCDC or the DLCD board.
LOAC, yeah.
The LOAC board. So I just want to commend you for all of your due diligence to get us here, along with the staff, to get us here today. So.
Yeah, no, it's thank you, and it's been rewarding to see it get to this far. So I'm anxious to see it be behind us and move forward. And yeah, so anyway, with that being the case, any other comments? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, it passes. Next item: consideration to award construction contract for Newmark Avenue and South Wall Street parking lot. Jennifer.
Thank you. So the Newmark Avenue and South Wall Street parking lot project proposes to construct a parking lot with 25 parking stalls, including 2 ADA parking stalls. This project was identified in the 2025 Empire Area Blueprint. The design includes a designated location for the Empire Christmas tree with a support base. On June 10th, the City of Coos Bay publicly opened bids. 4 bids were received, with the apparent low responsive bidder being Knife River Materials for $436,629. Attached to the staff report is the bid tabulation and AI-generated renderings that simulate the completed project's appearance. The project also includes sanitary sewer improvements to remove and replace approximately 100 feet of the sanitary sewer line that runs through the parking lot. This line is in poor condition and has been previously identified for replacement in the next 3 to 5 years. As the parking lot will be constructed over this line, city staff concluded that it would be more cost-effective to include this repair within the project's contract and reduce the need for future repair within the parking lot's project's lifetime. So there's going to be two funding sources for this project. The bulk of the project, which is the parking lot, will come from the Empire Urban Renewal, Fund 58, and the sewer line replacement will come from Water Quality, Fund 3. So staff is asking council to consider awarding the contract to Knife River for the bid amount plus 15% contingency.
Any questions for Jennifer? Are we going to have to get a snowplow now?
I just want to commend Jennifer for the map, the AI-generated renderings. It makes it so much easier to understand, and I will not hold you to that Christmas tree that's so beautifully decorated in that AI rendering. So,
thank you for that. I will make sure to pass that on to staff. That was not me. That was my great staff.
Thanks.
Thank you.
And it's noted, there's a spot for the Christmas tree out there. Like there is here, there'll be an electrical outlet and what?
The Visitor Information Center is a good model. We have it under,
Right.
you don't see it normally during the year
Right.
because it's under a manhole. We'll do the same thing here.
And these bike racks will be included?
That's correct.
Carmen. All right, council, how would you like to proceed?
Move to award the Newmark Avenue and South Wall Street parking lot project to Knife River Materials for the amount not to exceed $502,506, which includes a 15% contingency.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to award the construction contract for the Newmark Avenue and South Wall Street parking lot project to Knife River. Is there any other comments or discussion?
I just feel like I need to say that, like, I am not happy we are making an additional investment in parking lots before we are making an investment in multimodal transport. So.
Well, I second that.
Well, it gives us a target, I guess, and things to talk about. Ariane I met with, and she's on the Parks Commission with Carmen, and she has some ideas, and I think they're valid and something that we should keep in mind.
Yeah, I see that this was on our project list, but I will remind us that multimodal infrastructure is one of our council goals,
Sure.
which we have yet to make very much progress on. So, we are trying.
Yep.
Staff is really doing good on that, but there's some low-hanging fruit, and I really hope we can get it soon. And we are working on a multimodal master plan, which is part of the reason why I think things are going slowly, but hopefully that happens really soon.
Right.
I just want to make a comment, being a resident out in Empire. There are people that have to travel distances to get to work and things that happen out there. There's restaurants around. And there's a lot of apartments in that vicinity. There's a lot of residential. It's, 7,000 people live out there. And a lot of what we have is street parking. So even though these are great things that you're talking about, we do need some places to park people. And there's just not a lot of physical locations where people can park if they live in an apartment.
I just have to respectfully disagree. At one point, and I do not have the number in front of me, and I wish I had brought it with me tonight, but I think the number was 297 parking spaces in Empire.
In total, including streets, parking?
Yes. It's pretty significant.
And how many of those 7,000 people would ride their bikes if there was adequate infrastructure?
Well, there's a lot of people that ride their bike. I think both are important.
Yeah, I think both are important. It's just that
we
we've made a lot
also
of progress on parking
started
lots, but not biking. So.
But we also started this project as a parking lot. It's nice to finally see it finished.
Yes, I would agree. It's a project we need to complete. I think it's good to recognize that we do have a council goal of moving the needle forward on bicycle and pedestrian infrastructure, yet we have been slow to action on that. But we seem to be very well focused on providing automobile infrastructure, parking infrastructure. And if you think about the return on investment on parking lots, I'm sure there is a return on investment. It's just empty space a lot of the time that we spend a lot of money procuring for people with little actual return on that investment. So I do want to see the health of our community go up with more opportunity to safely traverse our community. And I ride out there, rode recently with my daughter, and it was kind of heroic in moments going through Empire with a 9-year-old. You know, I try to be as much of a buffer as I can for her between myself and the traffic, and that is, you know, that's a tall order, a tall ask of our community members. And I grew up in Empire, and, you know, my next door neighbor was hit by a car crossing Newmark, walking. I mean, like, these kinds of things happen, and it's just, I don't think it's quite equitable for us to not provide a safe passage for people who are without a car, people who cannot afford a car, children. There's a school out there. It's just, it's essential. And I really hope that we make some real movement. So I appreciate you bringing that up. I think I'm on it with you.
I didn't say I disagreed that we shouldn't focus on it. I think we have to focus on both. I have to drive 15 minutes to get to work, and I can't. I'm not going to ride a bike to get there. You know, I could ride a bike to get to the grocery store, but I can't do it to get to work. And there are people that live out there that have to work in Coquille, in other locations. So I just think an overall plan is good. I'm not saying that you can't look at everything.
Yeah.
I just want to commend this council. I just sat at a Travel Oregon Commission meeting, and there was debate over a topic, and Travel Oregon, that commission, is not used to debating like this, and it was messy, and it was much of a conversation like this, and I said, ladies and gentlemen, this is the public process. And so I appreciate always that this council can have differing opinions, and at the end of the day, we will leave here making a decision, and we'll come back the following Tuesday and do it again. So I just wanted to, I liked the conversation. I hope we continue to have it, and I appreciate both perspectives.
Agreed. It's a respectful place in this council chambers, and I appreciate that as well.
Nope, definitely agree. And I think it's a mindset, and it's a goal that we need to do, and hopefully we can get there with the plan that we have coming, right? And so, anyway,
yeah,
let's just keep that at the forefront.
Yeah, I want to commend staff on what the work that they are doing to make this move forward. And it is the public process, which is often slower than one would hope for sometimes. I mean, just how long have we had this parking lot property? Or how we've had our eyes on getting this finished. I mean, it's kind of an amazing amount of time, and we are finally here. So I don't want to undercut the celebratory nature of like finishing a project, which is it is something we should celebrate. And
the only thing I was thinking is, dang, parking lots are expensive.
I know they really are. Well, so are sidewalks. You know, it's like, whatever we do, it's going to cost.
And Dutch Brothers donated the property.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. With that the case, good discussion. Appreciate it from everyone. There's a motion. Is there a motion on the floor?
Yes.
Yeah, I made a
There's a motion
motion.
and a second. And so, that being the case. Oh, and I didn't ask for, I got to the point, So, this is it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing that passes.
He's not going to ask again for.
No, exactly. Next item on the agenda is consideration to accept privately constructed sewer and storm improvements associated with Teakwood Plaza. Jennifer.
I can take, there you go.
All
Thank
right.
you. On December 13th, 2022, the City of Coos Bay approved a final order for Tired Rose LLC authorizing development of 4 commercial buildings located along Teakwood Avenue between North Bayshore Drive and North 8th Street. In order to support the development, privately constructed public sewer and storm improvements were installed. The work was inspected by Tired Rose LLC's engineer and approved by DEQ and has been verified to meet all applicable city standards, ordinances, and specifications. Per the Coos Bay Municipal Code, the city has established procedures for accepting privately constructed public improvements. Staff has reviewed the required as-built drawings, inspection reports, and written certification from Tired Rose LLC's engineer. The next step is for Public Works to recommend that the City Council formally accept the improvements. Approval of Resolution 26-20 will officially accept and dedicate the sanitary sewer and storm to the City of Coos Bay.
So I'm just guessing, and I presume that we inspected this as it was installed.
So we actually condition the developer's engineer to do that because they're on time. They're on site full time.
Okay. So is this a normal process, when we have a developer do something like this, whether it's Teakwood or housing development, whatever,
Coos
then
Bay
we take it
Village,
on?
Timber Cove, Inglewood, yes, it's very
Okay.
common.
All right. Council, questions, comments? Motion?
I move to approve resolution 2620 to accept privately constructed public improvements associated with Teakwood Plaza developed by Tired Rose LLC.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to adopt Resolution 26-20. Is there any other comments or questions? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, it passes. Next item is review of downtown boardwalk maintenance and cleaning services contract scope of work. Jennifer.
Okay. The downtown boardwalk is one of the city's most visible public amenities and serves residents, visitors, and downtown businesses throughout the year. Routine maintenance activities currently occur on an as-needed basis by staff. However, due to staff resources, Council expressed interest in evaluating a dedicated service contract that would provide a consistent level of maintenance and cleanliness. In response to Council's direction, staff developed a detailed scope of work intended to establish clear expectations, measurable performance standards, and objective criteria for evaluating the contractor performance. The proposed contract would be for a 12-month period beginning July 1st, 2026 and ending June 30th, 2027. The proposed service frequency is weekly from the months of May through October, and then twice monthly service from November through April. While creating the scope of work, staff identified two alternatives for council consideration. So the first one is the Tug, Irene, and Menasha Tree area. So this alternative would just extend this routine maintenance just to the north where that area is located and would have the same metrics as the boardwalk. Alternative two is the middle pavilion floor painting. So in that middle pavilion, there is a Coos Bay map, and it works. You can press a button, and you could have places light up on where they're located, but the painting needs some attention. And so this would be just a one-time cost. It would be done in the first month of the contract, if council so desires. So staff is requesting council review the proposed scope of work and provide feedback or requested changes. The request for bids has been submitted to multiple local landscapers. However, any modifications to the scope will be issued to the landscapers via an addendum. Bids are due on June 25th, and the responsive landscaper will conduct their first mobilization no later than July 3rd.
All right. This is something that's been discussed. I think it came up it came up in the budget committee, and there was dollars appropriated for this maintenance, and hopefully the bid will come in that amount, but we'll find out. I know that what was discussed in the budget meeting has been expanded by the staff with the intent that other areas need to be taken care of. I'm not opposed to it because I think we need to try to help staff in any way we can, and contracting out can be a benefit that will allow them to do other things that are necessary. And I think everything was covered. The only thing I don't know, is this going to take care of those pavers? If you look at the pavers, I do frequently, there are weeds growing in those pavers. So if you pressure wash those pavers, I'm hoping that we can eliminate the weed problem. You know, the steps up that we installed probably.
Yeah, right at the entrance, correct?
Yeah, we installed them, I think, some new pavers 3 years ago or something like that.
So it will, and even if it's not clarified, we will clarify it and issue an addendum tomorrow regarding that.
Okay. And if I understand correctly, also, this RFP has already been out.
It has.
And so if it depends on how this council adopts this or doesn't adopt it or adds to it, then you would change the RFP by those. How many people have?
So far, two.
Have submitted? Okay.
Two are interested in submitting.
Okay. Council, comments, questions, thoughts?
I wanted to thank staff. I think at the last council meeting, I was pretty clear that I wanted to get this quickly, and thank you very much on it. I only had, Mayor Benetti asked the one question about the power washing of the weeds. The other question I had, and I'm out of my depth here, so I will admit that, it'd sure be nice if we could fertilize the grass once in a while so it's green, but I don't know if we have the ability to do that, or it has to be natural because it's on that boardwalk. So that's one thing I would love to be able to add in there, if they could make sure that it's fertilized and it's green and it's looking appropriate.
We can certainly add that.
Great, thanks.
Anyone else?
I appreciate that you added the triangular area. I know that you've done some work on it, that staff has done some work on that. But when I was actually taking a photo for a presentation that the Coos Bay Downtown Association was making, I was looking at the Menasha tree, and then I was over in North Bend looking at their section, and ours has a lot of dry rot on it. And I've been meaning to bring that up because you're not going to find those things, and that needs to be protected better. So I appreciate that that there's some attention to that area, because I think it's kind of the gateway to the whole Front Street area. So I like adding that in.
Okay, and so I also know that we were sent some information about the pigeons and that being taken care of. It's expensive, obviously, and I don't know what we do. But a story that was related to me was that this was being pressure washed last week by an individual, and Greg was talking to him, and by the time he got done, he went back, there was pigeon feces all over, and it was very disturbing to him. So I don't know what we can do, but it's a problem that we need to try to solve in some fashion. I don't think spending $1,000 a day for a falconer is the way to go about it. So anyway, I don't know what we do.
I think we need to look at enacting a don't feed the wildlife ordinance. I have 3 videos of individuals at the Fisherman's Seafood Market feeding the pigeons, and I think that that's where the problem is coming from.
Yeah, they were eating the grass seed that was planted, so I don't know if grass is going to grow there or not. But anyway, because of that. But with all that said, I forgot. There was some discussion with Roger Craddock, the director of the airport, and Nicole.
And he spoke with Greg Hamlin, our operations administrator, and this is a piece, like, we're doing a little bit more research on different ways we can address the bird challenges down there. The airport has similar challenges, different safety concerns, obviously, with a runway there, and they have their work is contractual with a group, and they can offer that up to organizations within 5-mile radius. And so we're, the way the crow flies, we are within that, and we just have to pick through it a little bit more to see if we even can qualify and if that works on our side. So it's one option of many that we've uncovered, and we'll bring back some ideas. There is an opportunity. Many communities do some, ordinances around feeding wildlife. Just like, where do you want to go with that, right? Are you okay with hummingbirds being fed? And what about, deer? And there's a wide range of wildlife, turkey, and, So, but this piece of it could definitely make a difference down there at the boardwalk, for sure.
All right. Good discussion. Any other comments, questions?
Yeah, I got one more little bit. So this, the maintenance map, it's obviously not over the train tracks, because the train tracks is not our purview. It's not part of what we're doing. So we could do a great job making it look beautiful, and then in between the road and our beautifully maintained boardwalk will be some tall grass and weeds and such.
Oh, I'm so glad you said that, yeah.
Okay. So I don't know if there's a way to invite the port to help us out with some of, that, at least during the summer when we have high traffic times, where they kind of maintain some of that.
Yeah, that's a great point.
I did sit down with Matt Friesen last week, and I told him we were working on some additional maintenance in that area. So it may open the discussion with
and
Linnell.
they've been really responsive with most things we've brought to them. So
Absolutely.
I can't imagine this wouldn't be, something very similar. I know in Eastside, the property they have there that can tend to get overgrown, we get a call and we call them because folks believe it's a city issue. Yeah. And they hop to it. So I can't imagine this would be much different.
Great.
So is that something we would put just that, I know exactly what you're talking about now, Carmen, all that tall grass from the fence to the rail line, and then again before it goes to our property.
Yeah.
So are we saying add that into it, or are we asking?
I think we could talk to the port first, right, and see what they might consider doing themselves. Maybe there is some sort of coming in together on a contract. Yeah, but we kind of have ours underway, and we don't want to.
Yeah, we don't want to change that.
I don't want to change
keep
it.
that process going for sure. But I think they might just come in with their team and keep that work going.
Yeah.
It'd be great if they decommissioned it so we could take it over for them.
Might be part of the conversation. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because there's this part, and then you had mentioned where the Menasha tree is. It's kind of like the entrance into Front Street, and I feel like there's another version of that a little bit north when you turn over next to the Marshfield Sun Printing Museum. There's a little triangle there, and it's just grass and gravel, and it is completely overgrown at the moment. It's like the entrance into Front Street from the north, and also into Coos Bay Village, and it could use some attention. So it looks like we're trying, but that's maybe that's the place where I put on my work pants and go out and weed eat.
Well, and I know that the History Museum or the Sun Museum owns some of that themselves, not city property there. So we'll look and see who's owner, and it may just be like we need to talk with them about upkeep.
It's across the street from the Sun. I mean, it's like it's where the train tracks are. That whole swath in between 101 and the what is it, Broadway. That swath is just, I've seen staff out there
extending the port conversation. Maybe.
Yeah, I think that there's a few spots where it would be really helpful if they wanted to collaborate in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah. Okay.
That's all. Not trying to,
No, this
throw
is
a
great.
barb or
We're moving in a good direction here, so I'm really pleased that we're taking this step.
Yeah,
And then,
agreed.
of course, we'll look for more, right? You know how we are. I'm sorry that we just never are satisfied.
Yeah.
We're satisfied.
We're
We just
in the
want more.
weeds.
Right, the weeds, very well. Okay. All right, I need a motion and a second, please. Or do we? No, yeah, do we?
Yeah,
No?
we just want to make sure
All
you're
right.
happy with where we're at, and if we need to make
Consensus.
some modifications so we get those folks an updated scope.
Let's get it clean, looking good. Thank you for all that hard work.
Great, so now we're going to do 5I, which is the proclamation for approval of the Juneteenth proclamation. And did you want to read that?
I was hoping our city manager could give us some history about Juneteenth,
Absolutely.
and then I'd be happy to read the proclamation if you'd like.
Nicole?
I will do that as soon as
You figure out your password?
I let my computer go to sleep. So, so just a little bit of background. President Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation on January 1st, 1863, which resulted ultimately in the adoption of the 13th Amendment, which formally abolished slavery. It took a little bit of time, a little over 2 years, before that information made it to folks in Texas and the surrounding area, which was following the end of the Civil War. And so that point in which it became known, let's just say across the nation, was June 19th. And because of that, we as a nation acknowledge Juneteenth as the Emancipation Proclamation across the nation. And we celebrate that given the depth of additives that those folks bring to our communities. So that's a little bit of the background, and happy to, if someone wants to read, or happy to read the proclamation as well.
Thanks, Nicole. I'll read it if you'd like. Whereas President Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation on January 1st, 1863, declaring the slaves in Confederate territory free, paving the way for the passing of the 13th Amendment, which formally abolished slavery in the United States of America. And whereas word about the signing of the Emancipation Proclamation was delayed some 2.5 years to June 19, 1865, in reaching authorities and African Americans in the South and Southwestern United States. And whereas June 19th has a special meaning to African Americans and is called Juneteenth, combining the words June and 19th, and has been celebrated by the African American community for over 150 years. And whereas in its celebration of freedom, Juneteenth is a day that should be recognized by all Americans and remind us all of our incredible capacity to heal, hope, and emerge from our darkest moments with purpose and resolve.
Now, therefore, I, Joe Benetti, the mayor of the city of Coos Bay, do here proclaim June 19th, 2026 as Juneteenth in the city of Coos Bay, and encourage everyone to recommit ourselves to the work of equity, equality, and justice. With that being the case, if I can get a motion and a second to adopt the proclamation, please.
I move we approve the proclamation designating June 19th, 2025 as Juneteenth.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to adopt the proclamation of Juneteenth. Any other comments? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, it passes. Nicole, City Manager's report.
Yes, thank you. So the first thing I'd like to do is correct a misstatement I made earlier tonight in regards to the Spectrum franchise. It's not 90,000. It's roughly 160,000. I was thinking of the natural gas. So it is a pretty significant part of our general fund budget. I also wanted to, and I think we've talked about this already, but just a reminder that the parking lot, the Newmark Avenue parking lot, was an in-house design. We are very fortunate to have some folks here who have some growing skills, and so we did that design work in-house. In talking about the boardwalk, we have a display of tribal flags up there, and they will be replaced in preparation for our summer months and all of our visitors down there by the first part of July. They're already on order. We have extra set because we know the wind can be kind of harsh down there, so we're ready in advance to pull them. Reminder about Library Block Party. If you have not seen that, that's coming up this week. It is kind of the kickoff for their summer reading program. If you did not see the Friday Update article with all the library events this last week, it was a hefty bit of information there. They're really super busy with summer reading. It's a pretty interactive and community-engaged event for us. So it's this Thursday, the 18th from 4 to 6, and I think they have a number of vendors who are participating. Should be a pretty fun event. Also sharing that Front Street Community Bikeworks has their block party this weekend on the 20th, and it's like an afternoon, evening, starts at 2, ends roughly around 11. It's pretty fun. They do a bike ride around the community. They have bands, there's snacks, and I mean, it's just a really great thing. If you get a chance, you should just pop in and check it out. And then I guess I would share that we are closing Friday in celebration of Juneteenth. That's been a question for several years with a couple of our represented groups, and it was decided in the last negotiations with the AFSCME group to acknowledge that holiday, and so that will be acknowledged citywide. Of course, our public safety folks still, they work all days and regardless of holidays, so that's what I have.
All right. Council comments. Carmen?
I really don't have much except for I am excited that we're working on beautifying the boardwalk and just invite other community spaces, businesses to kind of use this as a jumping off point to maybe do the same and just realize that this is our high tourism season. We really want to present well, and it's a good time to just go out there and freshen up your landscaping, your front doors, whatever it might be, and just make things look nice. So thanks for the staff putting in all that work. That's all I have.
Thanks, Carmen. Sarah?
Just a really quick thing. I was doing an audit of the city website, searching for something, and it looks like there's a couple pages that need to be updated, including specifically the one on homelessness. So just wanted to flag that. That's all I have.
Thanks, Sarah. Stephanie?
I don't really have too much either. Just want to mention that keep in mind Farmers Market is coming up, and applications are open for the festivals for the Coos Bay Downtown Association. And then also just an update on their process and how that's going for an Coos Bay Downtown Director. I know I'm saying that wrong. They are working on that. The subcommittee is met. They are finalizing the job description, and that will go to the board of directors when they meet, which is the 4th Monday. And so that will be released by the end of the month.
Thanks, Stephanie. Lucinda?
On the farmers market note, I, as a tourism commissioner, have the great opportunity to travel the state, and I was recently in the Dalles and learned a little bit more about farmers markets. So grateful for ours. You will now see me there every Wednesday. What I learned was that farming is a passion project, and you don't make a lot of money at it. And the way in which we can support those farmers is for every dollar spent, 72 cents goes back to the farmer if you buy at a farmer's market. We were learning more about the cherry industry in the Dalles, and we heard stories of selling cherries to like a middleman. You don't know the price of your cherries. You don't know what you're going to get. And in some instances, you don't get paid till the following year if you get paid at all. And you've already put out the expense of the staff and the labor and all the things it takes to take care of like your farms. And it just reminded me, we have such a great love of the state and all the different things that we have, the farmers market. And so I'm going to do my part to make sure that I'm always going to the farmers market on Wednesdays to support those people who make it their living to do so. So that's my one comment. And then my second comment is, I think we all saw the email that came from Checkerberry's on Monday, that they will be closing at the end of this month. And I just want to thank Beth and the previous owner, Carolyn, for 45 years of incredible flowers that they've given this community. I wish Beth the very best on her next adventure, whatever that is, and just want to thank them. I think it's a huge loss for our community, and they will be greatly missed. Lastly, I want to thank staff again. Thank you for all of the work on the boardwalk. You know, it's a passion project for me, and you just got this up and running so quickly, so I can't wait to see the changes, and I'm already seeing them, so thank you.
I think the council covered all the comments. I can't add to it, so I won't give a comment. But I will adjourn this